Hello, everyone. If you've landed here, you've landed on Let's Talk News. I am your host, Leticia Remauro, and I thank you for spending a Sunday evening with me. We have a lot to talk about. We did it. We talked about it on Thursday. Our enemies, and Trump did it. I mean, he's not fooling around. His goal is to protect America. His goal is to protect the world, believe it or not. And he's not just going to give lip service. He's going to actually do it. And so much stuff has happened, just so much. Hello, Francine. Good to have you. Hi, Mom. How are you? Hello, Colleen. Hi, Kevin from across the world. Santillion is with us. Aloha, Santillion. Good evening, Kevin Young. Hi, Karen. How are you? Thank you for watching. Hi, Lucille. Yes, go Trump. Finally, we are taking action. Well, the pussification of America is over. And thank God for that. And it's not just been America. It's really Western civilization. They've all just been falling into the trap. You can't say, you can't do, no wars, bullshit. The terrorism has been going on against us forever. Hello, Angela Ricca. It's crazy stuff. It really is crazy stuff. But it's not as if we didn't know this was coming, right? We knew this was coming. We were warned this was coming. And one of the great orators of our time told us it was coming. And he told us in 2015 when Obama was making the deal with Iran. He's now our Secretary of State. His name is Marco Rubio. And let's just a reminder of what he had to say.
Mr. President, I'll be brief. I know the senator from Tennessee would like to close on this matter. I think everything that needs to be said about the details of this deal have already been said. I do want to be recorded for history's purposes before I know what was going to happen in regards to this if it goes through. Iran will immediately use the money that it's receiving in sanctions relief to begin to build up its conventional capabilities. It will establish the most dominant military power in the region outside of the United States, and it will raise the price of us operating in the region. They're going to build anti-access capabilities, rockets capable of destroying our aircraft carriers and ships. Continue to build these swift boats that are able to come on us, these fast boats that are able to swarm our naval assets. And they'll make it harder and harder for U.S. troops to be in the region. They'll also work with other terrorist groups in the region to target American servicemen and women. And they may or may not deny that they're involved, but they will target us and raise the price of our presence in the Middle East until they hope to completely pull us out of that region. They'll also continue to build long-range missiles, missiles capable of reaching the United States. Those are not affected by this deal. And they'll continue to build them as they've been doing. And then at some point in the near future, when the time is right, they will build a nuclear weapon. And they will do so because at that point they will know that they have become immune, that we will no longer be able to strike their nuclear program because the price of doing so will be too high. This is not just a work of imagination. It exists in the world today. It's called North Korea, where a lunatic possesses dozens of nuclear weapons and a long-range rocket that can already reach the United States. And we cannot do anything about it. An attack on North Korea today would result in an attack on Tokyo, or Seoul, or Guam, or Hawaii, or California. And so the world must now live with a lunatic in possession of nuclear weapons. And this is the goal Iran has as well, to reach a point where they become immune to any sort of credible military threat because the price of a military strike would be too high. And then they become an established nuclear weapons power. And never in the history of the world has such a regime ever possessed weapons so capable of destruction. Iran is led by a supreme leader who is a radical Shia cleric with an apocalyptic vision of the future. He is not a traditional geopolitical actor who makes decisions on the basis of borders or simply history or because of ambitions. He has an religious apocalyptic vision of the future, one that calls for triggering a conflict between the non-Muslim world and the Muslim world, one that he feels especially obligated to trigger. And he's going to possess nuclear weapons. This is the world that we are on the verge of leaving our children to inherit. And perhaps we ourselves will have to share in it. And so I want to be recorded for history's purposes, if nothing else, to say that those of us who opposed this deal understood where it would lead. And we are making a terrible mistake. And I fear that the passage of this deal will make it even harder for us to prevent it.
So we did nothing about North Korea, and Kim Jong-un has a nuclear weapon that could reach America and can do great destruction. And we all know how crazy he is. And that was exactly what Rubio was warning against when Obama, the great deal supposedly that Obama created with Iran by giving them money and opening up trade. And exactly what he said would happen happened. And now look at the position we're in. So we had no choice but to get rid of that. It's bad enough we have one lunatic in the world. And I love that Trump keeps them unsteady. I know so many either from Iran or have family from Iran. It's been a long time coming. My adopted daughter, her family came from Iran in 1979. Her mother was a doctor, and so was her father. Both ultimately died. And I adopted her in adulthood. At any rate, the first thing I asked was, the ones that came from Iran, the elders in the family, how they felt about it. And they were very, very pleased what's going on. Hello, Andrew Dorman. Happy Sunday to you. So that's what happened. And there were many, many, many people who have been protesting, who've been put to death, who have been trying to retake Iran since the Shah was removed and since the Ayatollah came in, and since the fanatic religious regime took over. We've been talking about it for 50 years, and we know that they were behind so much of the pain that Americans have suffered, including, the 9/11 attacks, other attacks. It was always the people, their what do we call them? Their assets, their allies, the people that they supported. And right now we have so many people here that are sympathizing with Iran, which is it's remarkable to me. Absolutely remarkable to me. Hello, Susan Durema. How are you? So at any rate, while presidents and senators and everybody else, have been talking or writing strongly worded letters, only one dared to move. And at every time when he stopped Obama's deal, because the deal was already stopped because Iran was indeed creating a nuclear weapon, even though they had promised not to. Oh, could you imagine? The axis of evil actually fibbed to Obama, America's darling president, according to the Democrats. They fibbed. And when Trump proved it, he got criticized. And when he blew it up, he got even more criticized. And he was told he didn't. And then we were told he didn't blow it up. He really didn't do anything. And now they're saying that he did. There's always somebody saying something. But now there's no doubt of what he's doing, huh? What do the Democrats say about this? Oh, well, there are plenty. They're having an emergency session to vote on a War Powers Act to limit what Trump can do. They won't get it. But I mean, interestingly, both Clinton and Obama had aggressions, started conflicts, and neither one of them, the Republicans, didn't demand a vote from Congress. They approved it later on. It's going to take time to reinstall the Crown Prince. Way too many factions running around. Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I was just watching a video of Pakistan, people trying to take over our embassy, and they got massacred. It's terrible. Terrible. I mean, the promise of virgins were made by the devil. So many people dead. Very graphic. I can't show it here. All right. So anyway, Mom, here's Senator Mark Kelly, who wants to have this War Powers Act voted on. I consider him a traitor, and I just want to know, does anybody else see the resemblance? Because man, oh man, I do. He's been all over social media, talking about it, his service, all this stuff, and how Trump has no rights or anything else. In the meanwhile, the people of Iran have never been happier with our president. Hi, Mickey Patrides, how are you? Baghdad also, yes. It's going to take place everywhere, and I think we all need to be on our toes here for what's going to happen next. I mean, the FBI is on high alert. And I think we all have to be on high alert. All right. This is Trump's most recent explanation of what's going on. I cut it up. It was too long, but anyway, you'll get the gist.
Over the past 36 hours, the United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. We have hit hundreds of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now it was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building. Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead. Last night, all over Iran, the voices of the Iranian people could be heard cheering and celebrating in the streets when his death was announced. Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. Earlier today, CENTCOM shared the news that 3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action. As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. But America will avenge their deaths and deliver the most punishing blow to the terrorists who have waged war against basically civilization. An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be a dire threat to every American. We cannot allow a nation that raises terrorist armies to possess such weapons, would allow them to extort the world to their evil will. Not going to let it happen. We're not happening to us, and we're not going to let it happen to others. We're undertaking this massive operation not merely to ensure security for our own time and place, but for our children and their children, just as our ancestors have done for us many, many years ago. This is the duty and the burden of a free people. These actions are right, and they are necessary to ensure that Americans will never have to face a radical, bloodthirsty terrorist regime armed with nuclear weapons and lots of threats. For almost 50 years, these wicked extremists have been attacking the United States while chanting the slogan, "Death to America," or "Death to Israel," or both. They are the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. We are the world's greatest and most powerful nation, so we can do something about what they do. These intolerable threats will not continue any longer. I once again urge the Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military, and police to lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. I call upon all Iranian patriots who yearn for freedom to seize this moment, to be brave, be bold, be heroic, and take back your country. America is with you. I made a promise to you, and I fulfilled that promise. The rest will be up to you, but we'll be there to help.
He made a promise and he fulfilled it. And people were begging him to act, and he did. Santillan says that Kelly is a traitor. 8 top congressmen were briefed prior and approved. Yes, absolutely. And, of course, the Democrats are screaming. They think that somehow or another that being the being commander-in-chief means that you still have to tell 450 people a secret. I wouldn't tell them anything, nothing, because we already know that at least 3 of them are traitors to this country. Omar, Tlaib, and what's her face, AOC. There's many, many more in there that maybe haven't shown themselves. Hi, Debbie. Anyone who burns or disrespects our flag should suffer the consequences. Well, it's free speech, and I would not trade our free speech for anything. Iran's an American hater since the fall of the Shah. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, it's just amazing to me that nobody, wanted to do anything about this. None of the Western civilized nations would move to do anything. They always wait for us, always. But then again, Thursday, we went through it. Obama was doing his undermining of America in a very slow, steady, methodical fashion. He knew what he was doing. And it wasn't just America, it was the whole Western civilization. We are at the golden age of our cultural renewal. I agree with that statement. Screw these Democrat communists. They want to open the government to vote against the war, but not to fund or pass the Save America Act. Yeah, well, it's one Republican. I'll play this now. This is the Republican who's standing in the way of the Save American Act from coming out of committee.
What are my thoughts about what?
Running for re-election in 2026.
That's
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026? All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute. Senator Benny.
Yep.
Okay.
Somebody else have a question? Please speak up.
Speak up. But what the? We need to get rid of him. He doesn't need to not run. He needs to be removed as chair of that committee, and he needs to be removed from the Senate. That is horrific. Absolutely horrific. Yeah. Worse than Biden. And we all need to say something. We should all write to Thune. He needs to remove him. Absolutely. Yeah. System overload I just crazy. So that's what's going on with the Save America Act. He's the one who has to let it go. All right. So I thought that it would be interesting for us to take a look at only one news story, only one station decided, and it's foreign news, of course, decided to, carry it this way, the way I would have written it. But listen to this piece, because look, Maduro gone, right? El Mencho kingpin gone, right? Mexico, for the drug kingpin. Now Khamenei gone. And oh, by the way, every single person who was his next in command gone. And then they just appointed a new next in command, and they smoked him already too. So there would be 3 people who would be extremely, extremely upset by what's going on, because that was their ally, and they're being choked now because of the Venezuelan oil being ours, and Cuba going to fall. And who would those 3 people be? Well, let's take a look.
North Korea fiercely condemned U.S. military strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities, branding them a grave violation of Iran's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Released through the state-run KCNA news agency, the statement accused the U.S. and Israel of escalating Middle East tensions with relentless war moves and territorial ambitions backed by Western powers. Pyongyang's sharp rhetoric underscores its long-standing alliance with Tehran, fueling concerns about deepened military ties amid escalating global tensions. North Korea's foreign ministry called on the just international community to denounce the US and Israel's provocative actions. The US airstrikes targeting Iran's nuclear sites have drawn sharp international backlash. North Korea's response aligns with its anti-Western posture and its historic bond with Iran, rooted in mutual defiance of US influence. On Sunday, Russia joined the condemnation, slamming the US strikes as irresponsible and a flagrant breach of international law. Moscow warned that the attacks signal a dangerous escalation, jeopardizing risks to regional and global stability. China also denounced the strikes, with its foreign ministry stating they intensify Middle East tensions. Beijing urged all parties, especially Israel, to seek an immediate ceasefire to de-escalate the crisis. The aligned positions of North Korea, Russia, and China highlight a widening geopolitical rift as these nations rally against Western intervention in the Middle East. The US strikes, viewed by critics as a counter to Iran's nuclear program, have sharpened focus on Tehran's ties with anti-Western powers.
So then, all the authoritarian governments are upset that we would dare go into the Middle East, make allies of countries that were formerly at war with one another, and then destroy the one country that was allying with all of the access of evil. Could you imagine? How laughable that Putin is saying, how dare we try and take property that's not ours? Wait, that's sovereign. That's what? Ukraine, anybody? This is amazing. Absolutely. China, North Korea, and Russia are being choked. They are. Trump is a modern day Moses. He sure is. Trump is a liberator. He sure is. Bye oil and resources. They are on the edge. Time for some trade deals. Oh, where was the UN all these years? Sucking up our taxes, all talk and never action. Well, the UN was supporting the axis of evil. Right? The Chinese is third world countries. They're still considered a third world country. And they just hate Israel. Absolutely hate Israel. And they thought that if they kept on saying racist, that we would never get a president like the one we have right now. This is brilliance. This is, a friend of mine said, he's playing 4D chess while everybody else is playing checkers. And that's the truth. But we've been talking about it here, right? We've been talking about it here. He had his moves planned out. See, he had to get rid of Maduro because he had to take control of the oil. Then he had to get rid of the cartels because he couldn't get those illegal drugs to be bringing in money for these guys. All right. So we had to make sure that the oil didn't go anywhere. We had to make sure that the drugs, we had to stop them from making money. And we had to make sure, though, that we didn't strangle our European friends, even though they really aren't fucking friends, Starmer. But we'll talk about that in a minute. He set this chessboard up brilliantly. I just have to say, I am so proud of him. This is the stuff that gets me going. I love war strategy. Absolutely. I swear in another life, I was, a Celtic warrior or something. This was brilliant. This was set up brilliantly. And there's nowhere to go because Russia has no weapons. Iran was making 100 missiles a month, but they were shipping them out to Iran to use in Ukraine. You see how that all worked? And now China has got real problems because it doesn't have enough oil for its people. Its people are going to start starving soon. So Trump has them all on the run. absolutely all on the run. And now, of course, okay, hold on. I want to get to all your comments. Russia and China stay out of it. They can't get in it. They don't have the resources to get in it. China does not want to, ever show its hand. It wants to hold everything. It uses others to do its dirty work. Poor babies is right. The people of Iran wanted this, so it's up to them, not China, Russia, or North Korea. But it's 5D chess. You're right. It is 5D chess, but it's more than that. Because now we're going to have control of the strait. We're going to have control of that oil. There's when you have control of energy, you have control of everything. And the UK didn't want to allow us to use the Air Force base. What was it called? The Dominica something or another. But all of a sudden, now that we're winning, now that we were able to do what needed to be done, cut off the heads of the snake. Listen to Keir Starmer talking. Amazing.
The United States and Israel struck targets in Iran. Iran has since launched indiscriminate strikes across the region. The regime in Iran is utterly abhorrent. They have murdered thousands of their own people, brutally crushed dissent, and sought to destabilize the region. Even in the United Kingdom, the Iranian regime poses a direct threat to dissidents and to the Jewish community. It is clear they must never be allowed to develop a nuclear weapon. That remains the primary aim of the United Kingdom and our allies, including the US. I condemn Iran's attacks today on partners across the region, many of which are not parties to this conflict. Our forces are active, and British planes are in the sky today as part of coordinated regional defensive operations to protect our people, our interests, and our allies, as Britain has done before, in line with international law. Iran can end this now. They should refrain from further strikes, give up their weapons programs, and cease the appalling violence and repression against the Iranian people, who deserve the right to determine their own future.
So let me translate that for you in case you didn't understand the English he was speaking. Well, if all that oil is going to be up for grabs, the UK wants their part too. That's exactly what he said in a condensed moment there. You're going to watch. Spain is going to come out. France will be the last ones out, of course. But Italy, of course, but they don't have much to offer. Trump is an enigma, so amazing, 100%. He is going to go down in history as the most consequential president of our lifetime, along with Washington and Lincoln. He's far surpassed Reagan. Geopolitics is 5D chess. Study. You're getting a free course in it. Absolutely. It's amazing. It really is amazing. Invasion of Iran was superb, and the success will always be remembered. It sure will. Hi, Gloria. Good to have you. This is nobody wants war. Nobody wants anybody dead. Nobody. But it has to happen because we have been passive for so long that more people are dead today because nothing was done. In North Korea, in Cuba, in Venezuela, in Iran, in Russia, in China, because of these dictators. More people are dead than if a war was fought to free them and to remove these authoritarian fanatics, these religious fanatics, these psychopaths. And it's so funny because, Marco Rubio said that a lunatic has a nuclear missile in North Korea, and he does. the thing is I wonder if they know how. I think they're more fearful of Trump because they don't know what he's going to do, because he doesn't give a fuck. Yes, fuck around and find out in full force. Absolutely. Dude is a joke. Hope he has knee pads. Yeah. It's just that, in short, I want some oil. This is justice for the last couple of decades. Yeah, it really it is. And we're going to see, the lion is roaring, and we're going to see. But that doesn't stop the Chinese from still making sure that they have their assets here in America, right? Those awfuls, those American white female liberals. Because I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this, but this was a live shot on CBS's live stream on TikTok. And it was up, they were waiting to go live. And the cameraman tells the guy in front of the mic, the reporter, that the editors changed their mind. They don't want to focus on this. And the guy with the mic says, well, too fucking bad. We're doing it. And they do it anyway. And then they cut him off. Watch. Try and listen.
There needs to be more people.
What does that mean?
It means they don't want us to focus on this.
All right. Well, I am.
There's a lot of mixed opinions across Austin about the joint attack between the United States and Israel against Iran that happened early this morning. Some people, like this group behind me, are thanking Trump and the United States government for following through with this attack against Iran, while other people across the city say there needs to be more peace in the Middle East. The strike is drawing a variety of.
And it got cut off just like that. So they didn't want him to focus on it because it was too pro-Trump. And the Iranian people were happy that the regime was toppled. And after Xi said this was the wrong thing to do, how the hell could CBS air such a thing? Because we know that they belong to him. It's World War III. It's a cultural revolution. Yeah, I just don't know if it's going to be a long-standing war. I don't think so. I think it's going to be over fast. That's what my gut is saying. Democrats are pissed because they know that now they will lose elections. They are destroying themselves more if they oppose what he's doing, and the world is backing him now. I hope you're right. I think you're right, but we'll see. How is this America first? Well, because if he didn't make this move, Iran was coming after America. Iran, North Korea, Russia, China. The goal is to get America and undermine America. That's how it is America first. You need to understand that. And if you had been here Thursday and at the beginning of this program, you'd understand what's going on here. Keep believing that. Oh, well, sweetheart, you unfortunately don't understand that your country and your freedom is being threatened right now. And it's been being threatened for the last 50, 60 years. Freeze China's assets here if they try anything. Yeah, well, I think it's going to get to that. It really is going to get to that. China is not in a good position, and Russia isn't either. Had Putin decided to end the war with Ukraine, I think things would have been different. But Trump saw what games they were playing. Putin tried to make a fool of Trump. And Trump went in with, eyes wide open, willing to negotiate. Putin thought he was one up in Trump. Now Putin's getting the full understanding of who Trump is and what he's willing to do. And it's a lot. It's a lot. China-owned network. Yeah, CBS is China-owned network, 100%. I think Iran is going to run out of weapons. Yeah, it's just a matter of time. The thing is, right, is that what happens with France, because France they're crawling with Muslims in France, as the UK is. Starmer is on his last gasp for letting so many Muslims into the country and empowering them. We have Ireland, we have Italy, we have Spain, and then other Western countries who don't generally get involved in wars, but I think they're going to be resurrected in this. And the whole idea here is going to be there's a focus now. All right, so we talked about it. It was Maduro, El Mencha, the Mexican drug cartel. Then it's going to, and then it was Iran, and now they've got to look to North Korea. They're choking out and isolating. Ultimately, we're isolating Russia. That's what we're ultimately doing, and China. We have to separate them, and we have to figure out how this is going to work, because at the same time, we can't totally undermine our economy, but we won't undermine our economy, because just like in World War II, right, when all the men were off to war and the women took over and started making products, similar things will happen here. The thing is that the Western, and I think it was Kevin who said it, or no, it was Santillan, that it was a cultural warfare. The Western civilized nations have to band together, and they have to be able to show that they can make enough weapons and that they are prepared. Not just the NATO, because NATO is bullshit. It's more than that. It's more than that. We have to get rid of the axis of evil, and that is, Iran. That is the BRICS, basically. Although India, I don't know what India is planning to do. I think they're going to stay out of it. They usually do. I think the power and strength Trump is exhibiting with work on the other Western countries. Well, I think that that's true, because they don't know what he's willing to do. And frankly, neither do the Democrats. Let's see. Everybody's talking and it's jumping, and it's good. Europe needs to secure their own borders and self-defense. Is no more protecting them financially. I agree. Well, that's why he wanted to make sure that all the NATO countries put their 5% in to start making weapons. See, I mean, what he's doing, everything they did, the UN, this whole axis of evil, he's doing it in reverse. He just looked at history and went, oh, that went off the rails here, that went off the rails here, that went, okay, now you have to do this, and you have to do this, and you have to, and he's just unwinding the knot that they made, that they thought America was going to strangle itself with. And that's what he's doing. And it's going to pay off for everybody. Zelensky doesn't listen to Trump. He's an idiot. All he wants is money for, he's not getting it anymore. That's the whole thing. But you know what? Trump got what he needed from Zelensky. I mean, remember, he's got agreements in place all over the place. And that's, kind of why he wanted Greenland. And that still may be coming. None of the other Middle East countries backed Iran. None. And they attacked them too. Well, that's because Trump worked on them ahead of time, right? The Accord, the wars that he solved there, and even the Congo. I mean, he was playing on all levels, and nobody knew what the fuck he was doing, especially the Democrats, and them jumping up and down, not showing their stupidity is remarkable to me. They heighten police in New York. They have to. But I would not say that this time they will attack like a New York or California, like no Golden Gate Bridge, no Verrazano Bridge. I think the problem where we're going to see problems is going to be in Minnesota, because we know that a lot of sleeper cells are there. I think Texas. I think that Florida maybe. And thankfully we all have guns, in the South. So hopefully, people will be prepared. And I said to my husband, we ought to have a militia of us old people who can, protect at home so that our young people could do what they have to do in air and overseas. He is so amazing. Unbelievable. Well, he the playbook was written. He's just rewinding it, right? Like when we were kids, remember we used to play the 45s backwards and swear we heard messages in them. That's what he's doing. He just rewound the tape. So this was written for him. They are saying houses of worship. That could be. They're going to terrorize. They're not going to go for the big things. They're going to terrorize. They're going to want to disrupt our everyday lives. Remember, AOC said she doesn't know anything about geopolitics. Yes, she doesn't. And oh, by the way, houses of worship, we already saw the terrorism in houses of worship. Wasn't it Don Lemon that went in there terrorizing houses of worship? We saw already the government terrorizing houses of worship during COVID, not letting us worship. Texas already had a shooting. Yeah, well, I'm sure that was one of them. And that's what we're going to see, because that's where the sleeper cells are. That's what Biden, when he let everybody in, that was the purpose. And where did they settle? Where did they go? Yes, they went to New York City, but did they stay? Are they up by the Canadian border? Where are they? And this is, one of the reasons Trump wanted to get them out. I mean, at the end of the day, this is all going to come back to bite the Democrats in the ass, because he accelerated what they were planning to do. But we're ready for them. And like I said, I'm ready. My husband and I are ready. Use us. We're old. We could do this stuff. With Mamdani, they need heightened security. Mamdani is dangerous. Yeah, he's dangerous, but he was supposed to bleed New York slow and steady. But this is an accelerated program. So now what? The police force in New York is mostly Muslim now. I think it's American Muslim, and I don't think that they're going to have the same connection as the fundamentalist Muslim and sleeper cells. I hope not, anyway, but it's scary to think about. So Hanoi Jane is at it again. Yeah. Okay, so that's our show. We had Maduro in December. We had El Menche in February. We had Khamenei and all of his cohorts in March. Who will be in April? That has to be the question that the other three are asking themselves. I guess only Trump knows. We'll see. We have an uptick in armed gang crimes the past 7 days here in Honolulu. They're covered up. We have a problem from all the people shipped here. Well, it's going to happen. Listen, if you are in a state that is a carry state, go get yourself protection. If you can't, for some reason, carry, what is it called? Oh gosh. Oh, frig. Get the non-lethal weapons to protect yourself. It just flew out of my mind, the name of the gun. It's about $400, and it's great. I will think of it and I'll post it later. CCW, yeah, conceal carry. You got to protect yourself. You've got to, and it's the non-lethal is just as good. This one, when you shoot it, the person's paralyzed for 30 minutes. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Santilli, I love that you read my mind. A Berna. They're great. They're absolutely great. Hey, Willie Chu, how are you? So get yourself a burner. Protect yourself. Because we have to. We're in this together. The reason that they don't attack us on our own soil is because there's so many guns in America. But that doesn't mean they're not here to attack us on our own soil. So let's protect ourselves. Let's be ready. Let's be aware. And I will see you all tomorrow at 8 p.m. Thanks for tuning in. Share the show. Thanks a lot, everybody.